Continental canceled 1 of its 4, Western 2 out of 13, Air Oregon 2 of its 30, and Eastern and Republic got away with none canceled. Travelers reacted calmly at the airport, but many have been clustering around airline ticket booths trying to reschedule. Despite the president's intention to terminate the strikers and a restraining order issued against them, members of Local 540 of the Professional Air Traffic Controllers are holding firm.
We do have some concern for that. However, it's not going to change our commitment, because I would like to know, if he fires 14,500 controllers, who's going to do those jobs?
Meanwhile, Portland International's control tower was being manned with 3 non-striking controllers and supervisory personnel.
We're not in the contingency plan. We're in a flow control plan right now, which is a way of disciplining the traffic through flow control out of Washington, D.C. It's worked quite effectively. Today we were on a 50% flow control at the 23 major hubs, and we expect to increase that percentage in the next day or so.
Planes were running only about 15 minutes late today, and Port of Portland officials believe at least half of the 250 daily flights using the airport will remain on schedule throughout the strike.
All in all, the PATCO strike has had far less of an impact than Portland airport officials had anticipated, and Tower Chief Harold John says there are no plans to request military assistance. In Portland, I'm Florence Jonick reporting for the 10 o'clock news.
This is Sylvia Stinson. The total impact of today's strike by air traffic controllers probably won't be felt for another day or two. But already, various transportation officials admit they're bracing for an influx of disenchanted airline passengers seeking more reliable modes of transportation. By noon today, interstate bus companies were reporting an increase in passenger volume. Warren Yancey, terminal manager for Trailways, claims his company does not foresee adding schedules, but if passenger volume continues to increase, he claims additional buses will be added to present lines. For Amtrak, the story is somewhat different. Officials claim 1 or 2 cars can be added to each run, but the train is already running at near capacity with summer vacationers and not in a position to absorb very many of those who would normally travel by air. Interestingly enough, little effect was reported among the general aviation community, either from a passenger volume or air control standpoint, though officials admit the picture could change if commercial air passengers choose light planes as a means to reach their destinations with a minimum time loss. At the smaller airports like Hillsborough and Troutdale, supervisory personnel are manning the towers, frequently working alone and handling ground and tower frequencies simultaneously. But the FAA maintains the manpower shortfall is not a compromise to safety.
What about the availability of flight following?
I am not sure about the availability of flight following at this time. We have not had an opportunity to check into that so far today.
And contrary to early reports, no restrictions were put on light planes operating in or out of controlled airspace. There was no difficulty in filing either a VFR or instrument flight plan or in obtaining necessary weather advisories. Those functions are all performed by personnel outside the Portland Air Traffic Controllers Union. However, light planes were politely discouraged from requesting IFR flight plans, which would necessitate flight following by undermanned control centers. But only one West Coast airport actually imposed restrictions on use of its airspace.
Restriction, as far as traffic goes, is SeaTac has been put on a pro rata basis. They're down to 50%. The commuters that are operating out of Portland and going to SeaTac have been asked to restrict their number of flights to 50% what they would do normally. But all of their other flights have been dispatched this morning. They're out on IFR clearances. We know that some of the executives have already taken off and are in the system IFR as they normally would have been. And like I say, as far as we've been able to tell, there has been no effect on the traffic yet.
For the traveling public, the air traffic controller strike means inconvenience. But aviation officials say there may also be a hidden bonus, a more conscientious effort on the part of pilots to maintain safety with less total reliance on control towers for navigation and aircraft clearance. And officials say if the mood carries over once the strike ends, the net result will be safer skies. Sylvia Stinson in Portland for the 10 o'clock news.
Oregon postal officials say that the mail service shouldn't be hurt too badly by the air controller strike. They did lift the time guarantee on express mail, but otherwise mail is expected to move routinely. Postal Service officials in Washington, D.C. said they have a contingency plan for keeping priority mail moving, but that the strike will cause some delays.
According to Portland Picket Captain Larry Catt, there are several issues separating the controllers and their boss, the Federal Aviation Administration. Money is the key issue. The controllers want an immediate $10,000 raise for everyone, plus a raise of 11.4%. The government is offering the same 4.8% increase given other federal employees. The union is demanding retirement benefits at 15 years instead of the current 25 years, and they want the work week shortened to 4 days and more say in matters concerning safety.
3 near misses have been reported in the skies today, and in each case, the Federal Aviation Administration is blaming the pilots. In New York, 2 jets that had just taken off from LaGuardia Airport nearly collided over New Jersey. The jets passed within a quarter mile of each other. Officials say one of the pilots misread altitude instructions. The other 2 near misses were over Pennsylvania. The FAA says that pilot deviation was responsible in those cases. Ted?
The longest session in Oregon legislative history is finally over. Coming up, we'll take a look at what was accomplished.
We'll have these stories and more when the 10 o'clock news continues.
You know, your cheapest insurance on your new and used equipment, other than a new air refiner air element, is to professionally wash your used filter with the most scientific equipment in the world by the most experienced people in the business. Electronic inspection assures you the best washed filters available.
This is rejected, and this is accepted.
3-day service, or in an emergency, just 24 hours. Now the most complete air filter service on the Pacific Coast.
Hot. Hair that's shiny hot. That's the look you get with Alberto VO5 hot oil treatment. Hair that's shimmering, soft, and sexy hot. Heat it up with VO5 hot oil treatment. It professionally restores healthy texture and radiance to hair damaged by hot rollers, perms, even blow dryers. Just heat it up, massage it in, and shampoo. VO5 hot oil treatment. You add the heat, we do the rest. Hot.
Look, America, Wesson's got a brand new look.
New bottle.
Easy grip bottle. Easy to hold, easy to pour.
Easy on me.
Look, Wesson's got a brand new look.
The oil looks lighter.
25% lighter.
Terrific.
Look, Wesson's...
I know Wesson's got a brand new look, and my fried chicken tastes
So come on, America, get new, lighter Wesson in the Easy Grip bottle.
It lasted for a record 203 days, and it's being called by some the most irresponsible legislature in state history. Oregon's 1981 session ended early Sunday morning, leaving state agencies with some of the leanest budgets in recent memory. Claudia Brown has more from Salem.
The chambers are empty now. It has taken a day to clean desks of the papers accumulated over the past 7 months. From the beginning, lawmakers were torn between 2 diametrically opposed mandates from the people. Don't raise taxes, but don't cut services. After an all-night session, legislators agreed early Sunday morning to raise taxes, but only by $167 million. That's less than the governor, the Senate, and even the conservative House had originally proposed.
It was a case where at the congressional level, at the national level, you see the Republicans rallying around the president and then picking up some Democrats to get his programs through. At the state level in Oregon, the governor would propose things with support by and large from Democrats, but in the House of Representatives not enough to get the program through, and then with Republicans ultimately killing it.
Hurd and the Senate finally gave in to the House's refusal to raise corporate income taxes. Instead, much of the new money will come from the pocket of the so-called average taxpayer. Cost of living adjustments to the personal income tax exemption will be delayed, raising $77 million. The price of a pack of cigarettes will be boosted by 7 cents. This measure will raise $41 million. And a new state cash management plan whereby some taxes will be paid quarterly is expected to bring in about $35 million. The plan provides for full funding of Oregon's property tax relief, and schools will be funded at the level recommended by Governor Atiyeh. But most state agencies can expect 2 years of austerity. Already squeezed by federal budget cuts, the Department of Human Resources may be forced to lay off several hundred employees. Layoffs at state colleges and universities have been avoided, but tuition will rise, and there is no money for athletic and physical education programs. Politics and the worst economic situation since the Depression. Those are the reasons this session lasted so long, and those factors are not likely to disappear soon. Budget cutting by Congress will almost certainly dictate a special session sometime in January, and lawmakers expect a return in June as well to beef up one of the most austere state budgets ever passed. In Salem, I'm Claudia Brown reporting for the 10 o'clock news.
Until the legislature meets again for a regular session in 1983, state money decisions will be made by the Emergency Board. The board is a select group of lawmakers made up primarily of members of the Joint Ways and Means Committee, the Budget Writing Panel, and the leaders of the House and Senate. The Emergency Board met briefly after the end of Sunday's session, and until the next legislative session, the group will get together every 6 weeks to appropriate funds on an emergency basis. Ted?
Emerald, while agonizing over that state budget has probably left nearly everyone with something to complain about, this session has had some significant successes. Governor Atiyeh guesses about 90% of his pet bills were passed, and Senate President Fred Hurd agrees legislators acted decisively on some key issues. Hurd's list of reforms includes land use planning, reapportionment, workmen's compensation, corrections, and court reorganization.
I think as the record unfolds, I think maybe in some quarters, considering the difficulties that we did have and the agonizing that we had to go through in at some periods in the session's history, that Oregonians and the people are going to be very pleased with the accomplishments of this session.
Some of the bills passed by the legislators this session were signed into law today by Governor Vic Atiyeh. Among them is legislation that requires most Oregon school districts to start kindergarten programs by July 1st, 1989, unless financial hardship can be proven. Also signed by the governor today was a bill requiring all public and private safety agencies to participate in the 911 emergency telephone system before January 1st, 1991.
U.S. senators who were stranded because of the air traffic controllers strike had to scramble to get to Congress today, but once they got there, they voted overwhelmingly to pass the biggest tax cut bill in U.S. history. The bill was passed despite one last effort to remove the president's tax breaks for oil interests. Val Himes reports.
Many senators were bitter about their interrupted recess travel plans, while Senator Kennedy fought tax breaks for the oil industry. Kennedy said they were put in to sweeten the bill for the House, and he charged they do not help mom-and-pop operations, as Senator Dole had insisted.
Hey, there isn't the mom-and-pop store that are drilling off Georgia's banks. They're the major oil industries. They're the ones that are going to benefit. And the real question is, does this industry, which is the most profitable, wealthiest industry in this country, deserve $33 billion when we're cutting back on Social Security for the neediest people in our society, cutting back on food, school lunch programs, cutting back on the student loan program.
But Senator Kennedy lost. The tax cut bill passed with only 8 dissenters. Senator Dole accused Senator Kennedy of looking for press coverage. Dole said it is a good bill.
We've made some good changes. We've cut spending. I really believe it's an outstanding piece of legislation. There are so many things in it that help everybody in this country that I'm anxious for the bill to be implemented. And let's face it, we wouldn't have that bill if it were not for President Reagan.
Finally, the conference tax bill is on its way to the House, and then when passed there, to the President. And finally, the senators are on their way home, some by military flights. But Senators Kennedy and Dole will be at it again. There will be a second tax cut bill, but, says Dole, not at the expense of Social Security. From Washington, this is Val Himes.
There are still some questions about whether or not President Reagan's economic recovery programs will work. Concern over high interest rates kept investors on the sidelines in Wall Street today. The Dow Jones Industrials were down more than 6 points to close at 946.25. Doctors are keeping a close eye on Presidential News Secretary Jim Brady. Early this morning, Brady suffered a grand mal epileptic seizure. A hospital spokesman says that such seizures are fairly typical of brain injuries, though a brain scan today showed no apparent cause for the attack. He is in stable condition. Brady had been making what doctors call excellent progress following a shot in the head during the Reagan assassination attempt last March.
Coming up, a Portland man is injured in an explosion at his home, and police are getting ready to search through a landfill for the body of a boy missing since last week. Those stories next.
Treetop pear grape, pear apple, and apple orange. They've got more flavor because they've got more flavors.
How often do you clean your silver? Most likely it's only when you have to, like getting ready for a special occasion. I know I used to dread this tiresome, time-consuming chore until I found Tarnex. With Tarnex, you can clean a whole table full of silver like this in just minutes. Watch. Tarnex is amazingly fast and easy to use. There's no rubbing, no scrubbing. Just wipe Tarnex on and instantly the tarnish is gone, even from deep crevices and intricate patterns. Tarnex is absolutely safe. That's why it's used professionally to restore priceless antiques, because it will not remove a single grain of metal from sterling, silver plate, gold, or platinum. And Tarnex works just as well on copper, too. So use Tarnex. It's guaranteed to work as fast and easy for you at home as it does here on TV. Or return to place of purchase for a full refund.
Only $3.95. Tarnex, the amazing tarnish remover. Available at all Fred Meyer one-stop shopping centers.
Wednesday at 7:30, they're tough.
Once you get them there, how are you going to get them out?
Love to fight.
I'm training this outfit to win.
And fight to win.
As of now, man for man, they're the best combat unit in the world. I hadn't had any combat experience. I wanted to find out what it was like.
You've never been killed either. Do you want to find out what that's like?
William Holden, Cliff Robertson, Vince Edwards lead the Devil's Brigade Wednesday at 7:30 on TV 12.
Portland police believe that a 7-year-old boy missing since last week was killed and that his body was dumped in a refuge bin that has since been emptied at a landfill. They also say that they have a suspect. Larry Curran reports.
Late last week, Portland police detectives developed information that missing 7-year-old Michael Lee Hansett had been murdered and his body placed in a dump box in southeast Portland. That box, in turn, has been dumped at Rossman's landfill in Oregon City. Police will begin a search tomorrow after landfill personnel spread dirt over the area where the garbage will in turn be spread. Michael was reported missing early Tuesday morning of last week. He was last seen about 7:30 Monday evening at Colonel Summers Park at Southeast 17th and Taylor. Portland police detectives have a suspect in custody, not in connection with this case, but in an unrelated matter. The suspect is not the man sought by police last week. The department declined to reveal the name of the suspect or the charge he's being held on. The case was turned over to the Detective Division last Friday. Larry Curran, the 10 o'clock news.
The murder conviction of an Albany man who was found guilty of killing his 15-month-old son was upheld today, but his life sentence was modified. The Oregon Court of Appeals said that Clifford Stein could not be ordered to serve a minimum of 25 years in prison. You may recall that last June, the Oregon Supreme Court ruled that 25-year minimum sentence for murder is unconstitutional. Stein and his wife were found guilty of beating and starving their infant son to death. The couple said they believed that their child was possessed by demons.
A Portland man is in the hospital tonight after an explosion at a southwest Portland home. The Portland Fire Bureau says that Gerald Miller was burning trash in a downstairs fireplace at 1000 Southwest Cheltenham when something in the debris exploded. Miller was taken to Emmanuel Hospital with burns over 6% of his body. The home belonging to Portland physician Dr. Esmond Brahm was consumed by fire. It sustained $70,000 loss to the building and $20,000 to the contents. Tonight, Miller is reported in fair condition at the Emmanuel Burn Center. Trish is here now for her first look at the weather. What happened to our weekend weather?
We seem to be falling into the same sort of weather rut. That's with the morning clouds and a little bit of clearing in the afternoon. As the week progresses, though, high pressure is expected to build over the northwest. That means those clouds should burn off a little bit earlier each day. Also, a gradual warming trend should get us back into near normal temperatures by midweek. Last night's lows were mostly in the 50s. We were the warmest station during the night at 57 degrees. Today's high just reversed that for 75. Current conditions: cloudy skies in the city. The temperature at this hour is still 70 degrees. The barometer's at 30.01 and rising with 68% humidity. Winds are out of the northwest at 10 miles per hour. I'll have more weather for you later in the hour. Now back to Ted.
Thank you, Trish. The baseball strike, as everybody knows, probably is over, but getting there to play ball is going to be difficult. Pat Helberg will tell you all about that and more in his first report next.
Introducing the newest taste in toothpaste, Advanced Formula Crest in a gel.
We love the flavor.
I love the fight. First, Crest made their cavity fighter even tougher. Then they put it in a gel.
Our best Crest checkups may be ahead of us.
New Crest Gel. It's more than just a great tasting gel. It's the only gel with Fluorostat, Crest's proven cavity fighting system.
Kids love the flavor. Their parents love the fight.
When you're taking care of this many teeth, you need this kind of fight.
Only Advanced Formula Crest has 3 flavors: regular, mint, and new gel. All with Fluorostat, Crest's proven cavity fighting system.
Tastes terrific.
Crest Gel. New Crest flavor, same Crest fight.
Dash presents the talking washer and dryer.
Don't put that wash in here.
A talking dryer.
Mrs. Dempsey, dunk that towel in the sink and watch what happens.
Icky suds.
I didn't realize Raymond was drying himself with that gook. I must have used too much detergent.
No, you should have used low sudsing Dash.
The washer talks too.
Dash cleans with a powerful low suds formula, so suds rinse out along with dirt.
He's right. That looks clean clear through with no sticky suds.
Yeah.
Told you.
No, I told her.
No, me.
Don't get stuck with sticky suds.
Get low sudsing Dash.
They might have to walk to Cleveland to get there. Nonetheless, the National League All-Stars have been selected. The National Leaguers will take on the American League All-Stars Sunday night. The regular season resumes a week from tonight. The player strike is over, but the air traffic controllers strike could cause yet more problems in a baseball season that's already had more than its share of trouble. Players from throughout the country will fly to Cleveland this weekend for the game. That is, if there is no walkout. If the strike is on, who knows? Anyway, here are the National League starters. Pete Rose will become the first player ever to start at 5 different positions: second base, third base, left field, right field, and this year he'll start at first base. At second, Lopes. At third, the leading vote getter Mike Schmidt. Concepcion at shortstop. In the outfield, Foster, Parker, first-time All-Star Andre Dawson, and another first-timer Gary Carter. The American League All-Star team will be announced tomorrow. The best 11 and 12-year-old baseball players in the state of Washington are fighting it out this week in Vancouver. The prize they are battling for, the State Little League Championship, and a trip to the Western Regionals later this month in San Bernardino, California. A team from Kirkland won this tournament last year, then went on to take the regionals and advance all the way to the semifinals of the National World Series back in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Kirkland has a team here again this year. Also participating, Othello, Renton North, Seattle International, Kenmore, South Kitsap, Kennewick, Centralia, and the 2 teams you see here, Longview Western and Oak Harbor. The double elimination tournament continues through the week with the championship game set for Sunday at David Douglas Park. The Portland Beavers won big tonight. We'll have details on that along with a story on the world's best water skier. That later in the hour. Right now, back to Ted.
The papers have now been signed to begin the final phase of Israel's military withdrawal from the Sinai Desert. American officials looked on as Israeli and Egyptian ambassadors put pen to paper. Pat Clausen reports.
The State Department document signing ceremony triggers the final phase of Israel's military pullout from the Sinai Desert. The documents establish an international peacekeeping force to supervise the withdrawal of Israeli troops and the transition of the Sinai to Egyptian control. The last Israeli troops are scheduled to leave on April 25th, 1982.
Today's occasion is another example
of the accomplishments of skilled diplomacy.
The Reagan administration marks its first achievements in the Middle East. It augurs well for the future.
While the Egyptian ambassador praised the agreement as a Reagan triumph, it actually was a byproduct of the Camp David Accords former President Carter reached with Egyptian and Israeli leaders. The document signing comes one day before Egyptian President Anwar Sadat visits the United States for talks on Palestinian autonomy, talks which the State Department says will exclude any role for the Palestine Liberation Organization, the PLO. The agreement calls for the creation of a 2,500-man multinational peacekeeping force in the Sinai. The United States has agreed to supply about half the troops, but it wants many nations to participate as a show of international support for the peace accords. However, American officials admit that so far only one nation, the tiny island country of Fiji, has agreed to join the force. Several nations have been skittish about participating because they fear an economic backlash from Arab countries that oppose the peace agreement. At the State Department, this is Pat Clausen.
Egypt's President Anwar Sadat arrives in Washington tomorrow for his first meeting ever with President Reagan. Today, he met with British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher in London. Sadat is making stops in Western capitals to enlist aid in getting the stalled Middle East peace talks revived. Sadat and Thatcher agreed today that the talks should resume as soon as possible. They also agreed that efforts must be made to turn the fragile ceasefire in Lebanon into a permanent peace.
Last-minute snags have forced Israeli Prime Minister Begin to postpone the official signing of a coalition agreement with 3 religious parties. The problems come just one day before Begin said he'd have his new government ready, and 2 days before the deadline for forming that government. Members of the Irish National Liberation Army gave hunger striker Kevin Lynch a military funeral today. Lynch died during the weekend after 71 days of fasting at Belfast Maze Prison. He was the 8th IRA inmate to die of starvation since May in an effort to win political status for IRA convicts. Coming up, Iran's new president is sworn in amid violence, and in Poland, protesters clashed with police today.
Those stories and more when the 10 o'clock news returns.
Isn't it wonderful to know there's finally a magazine that tells you about everything that's really important to you every week? It's Woman's World, the first weekly magazine for women. This week, Woman's World shows you how to renovate your home instead of moving, how pretty Western looks add up to comfortable fashion, plus recipes for great tasting, affordable meals.
Woman's World. It's new every week, only 75 cents at checkout counters. If you miss a week, you miss a lot.
Give that man a blue ribbon.
What happened? We finally won a game!
When the real taste of beer is everything you thirst for.
Ready?
The original.
From all of us.
Blue ribbon beer.
I didn't know you guys could write.
Knock, knock. Who's there? It's no joke. My engine keeps knocking. You probably need an unleaded with more spirit. Premium unleaded? No, thanks. I've seen the prices. No, I mean Union 76 unleaded regular. Try it before you pay for premium unleaded. Okay. Our unleaded's got more spirit, so a tankful could mean no more knock, knock.
Who's there?
It's her engine.
It's her engine who?
Go with the spirit.
Get more spirit without buying premium unleaded.
The spirit of 76.
In Poland today, hundreds of cars rolled through the capital city of Warsaw to protest food shortages. The demonstration by members of the Solidarity Union sparked some scuffles with police armed with riot gear. It was the first confrontation between the Solidarity Union and police in a year. Mike Wills has more.
Central Warsaw was blocked as hundreds of buses, taxis and even garbage trucks converged on government offices. With their lights on and horns blaring, the vehicles were driven from all parts of the city to join the demonstration for more food. A crowd of several thousand watched the protest, and buses were covered with signs. A hungry nation can eat its authorities, said one. Have mercy on our children, read another. Vehicles were rerouted by police to keep them away from the buildings of the Central Committee and the Council of Ministers. There, amid the chaos, Solidarity leader Lech Wałęsa arrived for a meeting with the Deputy Prime Minister. It was the latest round of inconclusive talks on Poland's shortages. The transport protest was the biggest of its kind in a 10-day campaign against higher prices and meat ration reductions. It came as workers throughout the Warsaw region went on strike alert for a proposed 2-hour stoppage on Wednesday. The Polish authorities are increasingly vocal in condemning the strikes and marches. They deny the threat of massive food shortages and say the protests are politically based. As stranded workers queued for taxis and the situation worsens, it's been announced that troops will now be used to crack down on the black market. Mike Wills reporting.
Iran's newly elected president Mohammad Ali Rajai was sworn into office today, but the event took place amid much violence. At least 14 people were killed in 2 separate bombings. Opponents to the Islamic regime were apparently responsible for the explosions, one of which took place only 600 yards from Rajai's office in central Tehran. In Bonn, West Germany, 110 Iranian demonstrators were arrested after they stormed the Iranian embassy. They smashed furniture and windows and sprayed anti-Khomeini slogans on the wall. 10 people were injured. But despite the violence, Rajai was inaugurated as Iran's new president today. Peter Newport has the story.
The ceremony took place before a large crowd at a mosque near the residence of the Ayatollah Khomeini. Mr. Rajai, the former prime minister, was elected last month as president and was confirmed in the post by the Ayatollah. The Iranian cabinet has resigned to allow the new president a free hand in selecting new ministers. During the ceremony, he pledged to struggle against oppressors, particularly the Great Satan, a reference to the United States. But as he was being sworn in, his self-exiled predecessor, Bani Sadr, was pledging to return to Iran and overthrow the current regime. Speaking in Paris, Bani Sadr accused the Iranian government of torture and executions and called on the armed forces to resist. Mr. Rajai was elected on July the 24th by 13 million votes. This is Peter Newport reporting.
Rajai is Iran's second democratically elected president. His predecessor, Bani Sadr, is predicting that the army will overthrow the Ayatollah Khomeini by the end of summer. Bani Sadr was removed from power in late June. He fled to Paris last week, where he is now in exile. Rescue operations continue today in Iran's earthquake-shattered province of Kerman. It's now estimated that more than 10,000 people were killed in last Tuesday's earthquake. About 90% of the stricken area has been destroyed. Tent cities have been set up for survivors, and emergency supplies are being flown in.
Also in international news developments tonight, radio reports say leftist rebels in the West African nation of Gambia have freed 2 of their 29 hostages and agreed to negotiate an end to their failed coup attempt with Gambia officials. Among the 27 remaining hostages are the wife and 8 children of Gambia's president, Dada Jawara. The leftist rebels are now holding off a combined force of Gambian and Senegalese troops. The rebels staged the coup last week while President Jawara was in London to attend the wedding of Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer. A clandestine radio station announced a rebellion in Bolivia today. A broadcast said a military general led 2 army divisions in revolt against the regime of President Luis Garcia Massa. A rebel communique charged the current government is linked to the international drug trade. However, in the capital city of La Paz, activity appeared to be normal today, and the official radio network did not mention the reported coup.
A funeral mass will be held tomorrow for Panamanian strongman Omar Torrijos. The 52-year-old leader died in a plane crash Friday night about 60 miles southwest of Panama City. Torrijos made his mark in history by negotiating the deal with the United States that gave his country sovereignty over the Panama Canal. Ted?
Coming up next, our special segment. Tonight we'll be looking at the largest telescope in the Pacific Northwest and some of the financial problems that it's facing. That and more follows on the 10 o'clock news.
Imperial House presents Johnny Rivers' greatest hits.
Long distance information, I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. Help me find a party to try to get in touch with me. Maybelline, why can't you be true? Oh, Maybelline, why can't you be true? We sail into the sunset.
This specially recorded album will take you on a musical tour of the best years of rock and roll.
These songs express my hopes and dreams over a period of time. We've put them all together on one album, especially for you.
Secret agent man, they've given you a number I know they take away. How can you tell me how much you miss me?
Johnny Rivers' Greatest Hits is a collector's item and is only available in this TV offer from Imperial House.
To order, call toll-free 1-800-453-9000. That's 1-800-453-9000. Or save COD charge, send $7.98 for LP, $9.98 for 8-track or cassette to Johnny Rivers, Box 880, Minneapolis, Minnesota, 55440. Order today. Call 1-800-453-9000 and charge it.
The tracks of my tears.
Financial problems are casting a cloud over the future of Oregon's Pine Mountain Observatory, the site of the largest telescope in the Pacific Northwest. Sylvia Stinson has the story for tonight's special segment.
The Pine Mountain Observatory sits isolated 30 miles east of Bend, atop a 6,300-foot mountain. Owned and operated by the University of Oregon, astronomers claim the Pine Mountain site affords an excellent opportunity for stellar and planetary research with no interference from city lights and with frequently dry, clear nighttime skies. There are 3 telescopes at Pine Mountain, including a 32-inch computer-driven scope capable of distinguishing the features of a crater on the moon no more than a mile in diameter. But it is not the moon that has brought Pine Mountain to the forefront in astronomy.
And I would say the first thing that sort of got us on the map here was the discovery of the first so-called magnetic white dwarf star. A white dwarf star is a collapsed star. It's what the sun will do perhaps 3 billion years from now. It'll blow up, throw off a shell, and what's left will condense into a body about the size of the Earth and incredibly dense. And these measurements that we did helped to sort of confirm that theory. This was back in 1970.
And subsequent work has dealt with the study of Saturn's rings, of binary and exploding stars, of sunspots, and Cygnus 11, the mysterious star system believed by many to contain a black hole. But all the research has not brought with it an increase in funding.
The problem is basic support of the equipment and so on up here has always been underfunded by the state, and our basic maintenance budget for the buildings and for the caretaker's salary is, as far as we know, is continuing, pending the worst possible outcome from the Salem budgetary deliberations.
The Pine Mountain Observatory receives $25,000 a year for maintenance, but Kemp claims twice that amount is needed. He says he frequently dips into his own pocket to cover necessary repairs, but admits the state probably isn't the place to look to keep the observatory open and operating. There is some light at the end of the tunnel, however. A fund drive has begun in Portland to save the observatory. Behind the effort is a Portland telescope dealer who is hoping to form a band of private contributors known as Friends of the Pine Mountain Observatory. Justifying the importance of one observatory to the science of astronomy might be compared to asking the question, how important is one rocket to the space program? We don't know, but astronomers insist if we believe that probing the universe may one day benefit man, then we have to believe in continuing to support astronomy research. Sylvia Stinson at the Pine Mountain Observatory east of Bend for the 10 o'clock news.
To watch and see if they ever get the money for that.
I hope they do. It looks like a nice retreat. Trish is promising better weather by the end of the week. She'll tell you more when the 10 o'clock news continues.
We'll go to any length to please you. Introducing Change, the adjustable chain that never stops changing. This unique necklace adjusts easily to any length you want, from 30 inches to 15, or anywhere in between, on the job or on the town. When you change, change changes. Change it to a double necklace. Change it to a drop. Even change it to a bracelet. Your favorite charm will enjoy the change too. Did you ever see a necklace like this before? Stop searching for the right length to try on. With Change, all you need is one. Why fuss with hooks that are hard to get at, or lose your favorite jewelry because of clasps that come undone? Change has no hooks or clasps. It goes on this easily, and it won't slip off your neck. Going on vacation? Change goes with all your outfits. Change is a beautifully designed fine Cobra necklace, electroplated in genuine 14-karat gold. And it's yours for the unbelievably low price of only $19.99. Isn't it time you had a change?
Change is sweeping the country. It's the biggest jewelry fashion breakthrough in years. To order, call toll-free 1-800-453-9000 or send $19.99 to Gold Change, P.O. Box 3401, Portland, Oregon. If you're not absolutely delighted, we'll refund every penny. Change is the one necklace every woman needs. It's not sold in stores, so order yours today.
Has your auto or home insurance gone up? Call the Cavalry. Compare Kemper's low rates. You'll ride with us.
A rather stubborn layer of marine cloudiness covered western Oregon today from the coast to the Cascades. In fact, as you well know, it took practically the entire day for those clouds to burn off. The rest of the state, well, they had sunshine from dawn to dusk. According to the forecast, the same sort of conditions can be expected again for tomorrow. Today's temperatures were in the 60s at the beach, 70s down through the valley with 80-degree readings elsewhere. We were 75 in the Portland area, 78 in Salem, 76 in Eugene. About the best anybody could do was Medford with a high of 84. Across the nation today, a cold front spread heavy thunderstorms from Nebraska into upper Michigan, and reports of 3 tornadoes came out of the state of Wisconsin. Elsewhere, thunderstorms were scattered here and there from the southern Rockies through the southern plains into the lower Mississippi Valley, but the sun was out from California through Utah into southern Idaho. Temperatures were around 110 degrees in the southwestern deserts, with readings reaching the 90s as far north as Idaho. In the Pacific Northwest, if we look at that satellite picture, that onshore flow has now begun to diminish, and that means we still will have the morning cloudiness tomorrow, but the afternoon sunshine should catch up to us a little bit earlier than it did today. Temperatures, well, they'll be warming a few degrees as the week progresses. Here are your forecasts for the next couple of days. Along the Oregon coast, mostly cloudy tomorrow with partial afternoon clearing. The highs in the 60s, the overnight lows 50 to 55. In the Cascades, mostly cloudy in the mornings with sunny afternoons through tomorrow and on Wednesday. That freezing level is near 12,000 feet. In central Oregon, mostly fair tonight, tomorrow, and on Wednesday. The highs 75 to 80, the overnight lows 40 to 45. In the Willamette Valley, mostly cloudy tomorrow morning, clearing in the afternoon, sunny Wednesday after some morning clouds. The highs near 80, the overnight lows near 50. In Portland and Vancouver, mostly cloudy tomorrow morning, but clearing partially in the afternoon, and then sunny Wednesday after some morning clouds. The highs in the upper 70s, the overnight lows in the mid-50s. Chance of rain 10% or less through tomorrow night.
Even though you promised better weather, we won't hold you to it.
Well, you can hold me to it if it turns out.
If it turns out right, okay, that's a deal. Pat Hellberg is next to sports. He'll tell you more about the Portland Beavers win tonight, and also he's got a feature on a favorite summer sport.
I'm a shower shaver, and there's another shower shaver in here with me. It's new, disposable, with more features than any other shaver. Look, it's curved like your finger for fingertip control, so hard-to-shave places are now easy. A slip grip handle helps prevent nicks and cuts. Easy push-button cleaning, and for fast, smooth skin shaves, a twin-blade pivoting head that follows contours you can't even see. Try it. New Persona Shower Shaver. It has more for you than any other shaver.
A talk with cheese lovers.
Hey, is that pizza good? Is it Tony's? Uh-oh. 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 Unlike many frozen pizzas, Tony's uses 100% real cheese. A lot of the others use artificial cheese.
Artificial cheese?
Artificial cheese.
Artificial cheese.
Artificial cheese.
Artificial cheese.
It's artificial cheese.
It's artificial cheese.
Oh.
Next time, try Tony's Pizza with 100% real cheese.
Tomorrow morning, start a stampede. Start a stampede to breakfast with beef. Introducing Firebrand beef strips from Swift. Strips of pure beef. Firebrand beef. Genuine beef through and through. With a crisp, smoky flavor that's made for the morning. So move over bacon, move over sausage. Make way for Firebrand beef strips. Firebrand, new from Swift.
Baseball is a game in which one little mistake can make a big difference. Tonight, the Portland Beavers had the bases loaded, 2 out in the 6th inning. Junior Ortiz hit a ground ball to short. The inning appeared to be over, but Edmonton shortstop Jay Laviglio booted it. 1 run scored. Then on the very next pitch, Portland's Jim Smith hit a grand slam, his 2nd of the season. In all, the Beavers scored 5 unearned runs in the 6th and went on to take a 10-2 victory over Edmonton. That's 4 in a row for the Beavers. Edmonton got on the board first when Portland starter Santo Alcala seemed determined to do himself in. Alcala gave up a solid single to Marv Foley, then lost all control of his control. He walked 2 straight batters to load the bases. With the sacks full, Ramon Romero lifted a sacrifice fly to center field. Foley tagged, came in to score. Edmonton led 1-0 in the 2nd. Portland bounced right back in the bottom of the frame. Everyone's favorite Willie Horton started the action with a solid single to center field. Doe Boylan followed with another 1-bagger. Then after a fielder's choice, Dave Augustine, who has been doing everything right lately, smashed a 2-1 pitch 10 rows deep into the left field bleachers, a 3-run homer. Portland went up 3-1. Edmonton closed to within 1 run before the Bevo outburst in the 6th put the game away. Alcala picked up the pitching win. Tomorrow night, Hawaii and Portland meet in a doubleheader beginning at 6:30 at the stadium. The Portland Timbers snapped a 5-game losing streak over the weekend, but it didn't do them a whole lot of good. If the NASL playoffs started today, the Timbers would not be involved. The Timbers picked up 6 points with their Saturday night shootout win over San Jose, but they still trail 3 teams in their fight for that last playoff spot. Washington currently holds the final wild card playoff berth. The Timbers are 6 points behind them. They face a critical test Wednesday night when the Edmonton Drillers come to Civic Stadium. The Timbers have just 4 regular season matches left. Rumor had it that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wanted to leave the Los Angeles Lakers for another NBA club, possibly New York. Now it doesn't appear that will happen. Kareem and other Laker players did not like Magic Johnson's lifetime contract. They felt he was being singled out. He was getting a better deal. But Jabbar met today with Lakers owner Jerry Buss. Apparently all the problems have been ironed out. Kareem now says he wants to finish his career in L.A. Well, most sports are dominated by the young, some by the very young. Water skiing, for example, the best skiers are almost all in their late teens or early 20s. That makes Ricky McCormick a grand old veteran at the age of 29. He's a 4-time world champion, and he shows no signs of letting up. Paul Budline has a report on McCormick and his sport.
There are 3 events in competitive water skiing: jumping, slalom, and trick skiing. In each of these events, 29-year-old Ricky McCormick is rated among the top 5 in the world, which is remarkable considering the different skills required. Slalom puts a premium on pure skiing ability, making sharp turns at high speeds.
When you're doing things right, it does seem like it's slow motion, like, you have time to think in between buoys. When you're skiing bad is when things seem like they're running in fast motion.
Trick skiing, meanwhile, requires showmanship and a gymnastic-like ability to execute flips and spins.
I think trick skiing would probably be the most difficult because it would take the longest. Slalom skiing usually comes fairly easy for most people. In jumping, because they're back on 2 skis, but the trick skiing, there's a balance and a skill that's built into that person to be able to, really make it successful.
The 3rd and final event, the jump, is probably the most physically demanding. One bad jump and a career can be ended.
Once you come off the top of the jump, it's all free flight. You're on the end of a rope and you're actually swinging, so actually you just freeze into a certain position and hold that all the way through the air. You just keep your legs stiff and land hard. Unless you're really wanting to go for that hard punishment, jumping would be the least thing that I'd talk about.
Ricky McCormick's passion for his sport is evident, even though he's been skiing competitively since age 5. He's already considered the old man of his sport, but he has no plans of stopping now. I'm Paul Budline.
That's tonight's sports. Now with more news, back to Ted.
Here are some of the stories making news headlines tonight. Air controllers ignored several court orders and walked off the job early today. President Reagan told the striking workers to go back to work within 48 hours or they'll be terminated. The controllers walked off the job after 11th hour talks broke down. They are seeking a shorter work week, better retirement benefits, and big salary increases. Portland police will begin searching through a landfill tomorrow looking for the body of 7-year-old Michael Lee Hansett. Officials said that they believe he was slain and his body was placed in a dump box. The longest legislative session in the state history ended yesterday morning. The lawmakers agreed to raise taxes, but only by $167 million. President Reagan could have his 25% across-the-board tax cut on his desk by tomorrow. The House is expected to give final congressional approval to the compromise 33-month tax plan worked out by House and Senate conferees this weekend. Evan?
Our final story tonight is about a young man who is barely old enough to vote, but his pen and wit have politicians wishing he'd lay off. He is Jack Oman, and he is the youngest editorial cartoonist in this country.
Jack Oman is something of a wonder kid of editorial cartoons. He's only 20 and still in college, but his cartoons are syndicated in more than 400 newspapers nationwide. Not lacking in ambition or talent, Oman once wanted to be the governor of Minnesota, his home state. He sees his age as a plus and lets his cartoons do the talking for him.
I see my age as an asset because no one else is that age. I mean, it sets me apart from the pack. If someone said to me that I did not have enough background to be doing my job, then I would say, well, you know, the Washington Post and the New York Times and Newsweek has been using me. I think that my work speaks for itself. I think that I have as good a background as any other political cartoonist to make these kind of statements.
Oman started cartooning for his college newspaper and had his first cartoon printed in Newsweek at 19, a turning point in his career. He likes to keep his personal politics private and plays down the influence his cartoons may have on the public or the powers that be.
I don't think that a cartoon of mine is going to swing the presidential election or change the president's economic policies. For me to say that, you know, my political cartoons would, you know, change someone's mind, I think would be a little egocentric.
Oman plans to finish college at Ohio State while working for the Columbus Dispatch, but his cartoons should continue to spread his name well beyond the Midwest. I'm Brian McFarlane.
Didn't realize there was such a young man behind those cartoons.
He's good. It's kind of interesting to see the guy behind the cartoons like that.
And it's nice to see you back.
Hey, it's good to be back, but it was great to get away.
You got a tan and you didn't even go to Hawaii.
No, I didn't have to go. Went down to Lake Shasta, spent a week water skiing, floating in the water when it got too hot because it was hot.
If you look closely, you can see Ted has white smile lines where the sun couldn't reach.
You know, it was interesting to get on those houseboats. It's really important, I think, to have the right group of people, and the people that we had we would have had a good time if it was gray sky and rain, just like Portland.
I'm sure you're happy to be back.
Yes, of course. Thank you. That's our newscast tonight. We'll be back again tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Good night.
Good night.
Portions of the 10 o'clock news were on film and videotape.
Stay tuned for Benny Hill next.
The Old West. Not much left anymore. Just a few crumbling buildings, dusty mementos, and legends. Lots of legends, though not all of them square with the facts. That's why Time Life Books got on the trail of the Old West. Good thing, too. They rescued photographs you didn't know existed. Put it all down while you could still get the straight story about people.
Like these two sons of a Baptist minister. They staged the first daylight bank robbery in U.S. history. Frank and Jesse James. Here's Clay Allison. Called himself a shootist. Hair-triggered Bat Masterson who wound up a New York sports writer. And what kind of lady was wanted for horse stealing and bootlegging? That was no lady. That was Belle Starr. John Wesley Harden. Before the Texas Rangers caught up with him, he shot 44 men. One of them just for snoring too loud.
And that's in your first book alone, The Gunfighters. A big, handsome volume with a look and feel of hand-tool leather.
Take 10 days to look it over. No obligation. Return it and you can forget the Old West. Or keep it and pay just $12.95 plus shipping and handling. About every other month, you'll get another volume for the same free once-over. The Great Chiefs, the Gamblers, the 49ers. Keep those you won't. Cancel any time.
There's an extra reward for fast action. This poster. The hardware that made men equal on the frontier. Yours free just for examining the gunfighters. A phone call is all it takes. The Old West. You still find it in Time Life Books.
Phone toll-free 1-800-228-3300 or write Old West 570 Time and Life Building, Chicago. We'll send qualified buyers the volume Gunfighters for 10 days with no obligation to buy. So write Old West 570 Time and Life Building, Chicago or phone toll-free 1-800-228-3300.
A hostile land of awesome beauty. The Legend of Death Valley. The Saturday Picture Show at 4 on KPTV 12, Portland.
Today's contact covering turns dingy drawers like these into dandy drawers like these in just minutes. So don't put it off when it's so easy to put on Contact brand.
The Northwest Limited Edition of the 81 Honda front-wheel drive hatchback Accord is available now. Only 100 were specially ordered. Look for this limited edition emblem, unique striping, and sporty wire wheels. Where? Only at Oregon City Honda on McLaughlin, Gladstone. St. John's Honda, North Portland. Dick Hanna Honda, Vancouver, USA. Tom DeLon Oldsmobile Honda, Salem. Ron Tonkin Chevrolet Honda, out 122nd Way, Portland. And Beaverton Honda, downtown Beaverton.
Everybody's looking at the new 3D Happy Meals, even your own family. They all want to see for themselves. In addition to a regular hamburger, regular fries, regular soft drink, and a packet of cookies, you also get your own 3D glasses. Put them on, and you'll see something so startling we can't even show it on this TV set. The amazing 3D Happy Meals, now at participating McDonald's. The best time you can have, with your glasses on.
For you.
Not bad.
Make a beer appear before my very eyes.
Bull.
Bull?
No, the Schlitz malt liquor bull. It's got more taste than beer, but more quality ingredients than premium beer.
Hey, it's no illusion. Bull does have more taste than beer. Make another bull appear. Hey, you're pretty good. Don't say beer, say bull. The Schlitz malt liquor bull.